Shalom and good day all, this is Tehillim29 back again for a Super Sons Fortress of Attitude review. Well, with this, DC Saved by Belle Reve, you'll end up getting two parts to this. This will most likely be the first part, and the second part will probably go up the next day. And with this one, I just plan on reviewing the Super Sons related story in this. And the other stories will be related in connection to the Rainbow Crescent comics. So, first things first, I just want to move to, hold a moment. Do these covers in any way, shape, or form connect to something that happens inside with the story? Well, if we're going sort of Super Sons related, not really, but you know what, I do enjoy both covers, including the Riley Rosmo one. And you're probably wondering, why the Riley Rosmo one? It looks terrible. Well, I think it sort of works, because if you have a look at this, at least he includes something to sort of like make it meet the back to school. And that is the bus, all right? That is the thing that sort of makes this cover work really well. So that is cover 2, to which I give a 7.5 out of 10. And also for the first cover, I give a 7.5 out of 10. I'll now move to going inside to cover the story, to which I'll go through the whole story, and I'll show like the beginning, middle, and of course the end, and then give my art rating and my story rating. And with the story rating, I will actually be including the additional things that are done in my previous reviews, such as location, cast, time, and any additional things that we need to know about the characters. So as the story starts off, we start off in Gotham City, and we've got Batman and of course Batman and Damian Wayne Robin working together. And of course, Batman reminds him, you got the first day of school tomorrow. And of course, we get to see John Samuel Kent also working with his old man. And he too gets the reminder of that he too has school tomorrow. So as we return to the Batcave and also Hamilton County, we get to see the Super Sons having their conversations. Not only with their dads, but also with Alfred too, which is really nice to see Alfred. Alfred is definitely the heart of the family. Followed by Dick Grayson. Actually, that is one character sort of missing in this, but it would be nice to see anyway. Of course, we get a bit of talk and discussion in regards to how they want their hair done, and we finally move back to the school scene. And of course, Damian wanting to make big impressions at school. I'll point it out, is that these characters are in 8th grade. Look out, 8th grade. Straight from John. So this tells us straight away that both of these characters are in their teens. So it looks like something's happened in the DC universe, to which they're probably both around the same age in this Super Sons story. We move to the next, and of course Damian catches up with John and Georgia. And as they walk in, or as they start to move into sort of like lunchtime or recess, we get some well-known bullies in the school preparing to make their advance on someone. Damian and John notice this. One way this situation could have been solved is if maybe both John, Georgia, and Damian went over and maybe sat at the table just to stop this from happening. Just saying. Right, whether the character's a friend or not. And of course, they decide to waste their food on one of the newbies. And we, of course, have John and Damien come over. You notice that there's no strikes between them yet, but of course, it does actually somewhat stir up Damien. To which John stops the situation from advancing. Yes, we finally move into that scene to which everyone is supposedly cringing about and saying, "Oh, he's sold out. He's woke. He's woke. He's woke." I disagree, because you got to take this situation into context. In other words, you have to look at the whole story of what is being told, not go by things by half stories, because that's also how gossip spreads. And of course, there's the discussion, they share about the situation, and even as you notice, as he leaves the situation, right, they get it in their mind that they both want to help him out. You can definitely see that in their reactions in their eyes. But as he walks away, he looks a little bit downhearted. As things continue, Damien decides to come around, help him out a bit. Just to give him some basic self-defense. Then John comes in and intervenes in the situation too. So we have both characters befriending this newbie. So not quite made their new friend yet, but befriending someone new. But also helping them to stand on their own 2 feet in the school. So they go around, they notice that Sydney's starting to be bullied again. Damien wanting to, well, release those anger issues on the bullies. John puts a stop to it. We see that the character of Sydney decides to remain passive about it until they advance their bullying attacks on him for a second time. So the first time wasn't enough, that they had to come back for a second, until, of course, it's either stand up for yourself or be seen as someone weak who can't stand up for themselves. And yes, this does happen in school. No doubt both should have really happened in a real school. Quite likely both would have been suspended for a few days, including the extra bully. So, for the internal art, I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. Now it's time to move in relation to the story rating. Now, with the story rating, there are 3 areas to which I like to deal with, and first area is the locations, because it's nice to know where this is actually taking place location-wise, and we get quite a number of locations, which Peter J. Tomasi does an incredible job with, and that is letting us know which each of the characters are. So we have Gotham City, we have Metropolis, we also have the Batcave, and of course Hamilton County, and also the West Reve High School, and I can't forget the Kent Farm because of Hamilton County. Now, where does this take place in the story? It indicates that it takes place a few years ago. So, and in regards to a few years ago, we actually learned that this is actually happening in 8th grade for these characters, which puts these characters as teens, both as teens. Now, with Damien, we know in the story that he's 13, but I think for this, also being a one-shot story, and I think this is something that some people are missing. What happens if there is an event that's actually caused both of these characters to be about the same age? And this is something that people are somewhat underlooking in the story, and or not underlooking, more probably overlooking in the story. They're not noticing these things. With the cast of characters, we have Batman, Superman, Damian, John, Alfred. It was really nice to see Alfred back. We had Georgia. Yes, there was a bit of talk about Kathy. And hopefully we do get this. It would be nice to see Kathy in this as well. Then we had the character of Sydney, who actually came from the area of Coast City. Now, to people who don't know where Coast City is, that's a place where a number of Green Lanterns have actually come from in the DC universe, and this is something else that gets a little bit overlooked. And of course, we had the bullies, Greg and Jimmy. Now, moving into the last little thing that I sort of brought up is, in this story, we do get an indication that this is taking place in 8th grade for them. So this is also telling us, the reader, is that since the last story, these characters have aged up since sort of like the last Super Sons related story and the year that they were in, which puts both characters quite likely in their teens. And for someone who is also a Super Sons reader, gee, wouldn't it be interesting if the Hypercube played a part in being about the same age? Just saying. Well, until then, I'll see you again at Super Sons Fortress of Attitude, and stay tuned for more Super Sons content.